Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome to another live show. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you're smashing the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. Get involved in the chat. And yeah, plenty to dive into as always, guys, in regards to Chelsea. A bit of news on Nico Williams that has come out in the last sort of 5-10 minutes. We're going to be discussing the race for the Champions League, what Chelsea need to do to get into the top five, and how critical it is, and what would be the potential permutations if we were to actually miss out. How damaging would that be? A bit of news on the stadium, amongst other bits and pieces. Dharmesh, great to have you back again, bro. I'm going to start with this Nico Williams stuff. We briefly touched on Williams in the show last night, but there's a bit more that's come out here. Nico Williams is the dream wing target for top clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, Bayern. Let's see what happens with Barcelona. More than 1 year ago, Chelsea wanted Nico Williams. For sure, they will add one more winger this summer. You have to convince Nico. That's the main factor for these clubs. Now, I don't think there's any doubt in that Nico Williams is a top talent, is a very good player. He's not having the greatest season for Bilbao this year. Off the back of obviously a good season last season, was exceptional in the Euros. He's obviously scored in the final against England. This season has been a bit of a drop-off by those standards. Top talent, without doubt. The wages are a big problem. So when I see like things like Fabrizio saying the dream wing target for clubs like Chelsea, I don't quite see how, given there's no way we're going to pay those wages.
Yeah, I mean, we big up the channel as well, man. Big up everyone who's watching, and drop your comments below, man, what you think of this as well. But yeah, just on this Nico Williams stuff, it's mad because we were discussing this yesterday, weren't we, about a potential winger coming in the summer. Now that winger could be someone like Nico Williams, who, yeah, you're right, he's not having the best season, but we've seen that the quality player there is inside him with regards to how he plays for Spain. But I kind of touched upon this yesterday, where international football is a bit different to club football, where players seem like there's sort of less pressure and less stress and a bit more freedom and space to play the game. And I think Nico Williams probably suits Spain more than he does Bilbao at the moment. And I think us going for Nico Williams obviously fits the profile of what the owners and the recruitment team want in terms of age as well. He fits that age bracket well. Maybe they're looking at this signing as potentially a Mudryk replacement, or maybe if Sancho goes back to Man United, then obviously we're two wingers short if we end up losing both Sancho and Mudryk. So yeah, I can't say I'm not that surprised, to be fair, that it's someone like Nico Williams, but it all depends on the fee that we pay for him, and if like Fabrizio said, and what Pies has tweeted, that we'll have to do a lot of convincing for him to come, and that obviously will go lead into conversation later on about Champions League football for us. So
I think when you're going for this kind of caliber of player and this level of player, if you can't offer Champions League football, the chances of you getting to the table to even discuss anything with Williams is, in my opinion, gone. Bare minimum, there has to be Champions League football. Then you've got to look at what minutes can we offer him? You know, is he going to be a first team regular? I think he would be, but these are all the things that you've got to convince the player of. Is it the right place to go and spend potentially the prime years of his career? Are we going to be a club that can prove we can compete for the major honours straight away? Because compared to an Arsenal or a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona, Arsenal can compete for major honours straight away. Doesn't mean they're going to win major honours, but Arsenal are going to be competing for major honours pretty much from the off if he goes there. Bayern Munich are going to win and compete for major honours. So are Barcelona. Chelsea, you can't say that right now. You know, you don't know how long it's going to be until we potentially start winning major honours again. So, like, the fee's not an issue. There's a release clause. I think it's between 45 and 50 million quid. So the issue isn't the problem. So the fee's not the issue here. It's going to be wages to begin with, and it's going to be actually convincing the player. Now, if I'm just looking at Nico Williams' stats here, it's nothing amazing. It's 24 La Liga appearances, 4 goals, 5 assists. So it's not it's not anything special. I mean, last season he was a lot better. Obviously, I think Bilbao won the Copa del Rey last year, and the Euros. I mean, even last season when he had a pretty good season.
He was good in the Euros. Yeah, he was really good in the Euros.
Very good in the Euros. He got 11 assists and 5 goals in La Liga last year, 31 appearances, and obviously in their successful Copa del Rey campaign, he got 5 assists, 3 goals in 6 appearances. So this is someone that's good, but the output's not incredible. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in a better team, with the greatest respect to Bilbao, if you're playing with better players, like you would be at Chelsea, for example, you'd expect that end product to improve in terms of maybe more assists because there's better quality on the ends of those chances. Is he going to score more goals? I don't really know, but I just think for the wages, you've got to be pretty sure. Or you've got to be pretty sure on this. I mean, he would suit the system. Don't get me wrong. You know, he can be a touchline winger. He's direct. He takes players on. He has got a goal threat. He's creative. You can see by his assist numbers. But I just think he probably is one of the top wingers that is likely to be on the market this summer. He will definitely be one of the best and one that is potentially attainable. But I just feel right now we're not in a position where if Chelsea are going in for a player where I feel really confident, like we used to in the past, that I don't mind if a Bayern Munich or an Arsenal or a Barcelona are interested. Like right now, I feel for me, bro, if we were to get to the table with Williams, I don't fancy our chances at being able to convince a player over the other clubs that are being named.
No, I don't think so either. And that obviously depends if we make Champions League football next season. And I think Nico Williams will suit the Prem in terms of his style of play. I think less so than La Liga, because I think La Liga he'll need to use his technical brain a bit more, which I don't think he has that much compared to other wingers. And I think the Prem's obviously very physical and very quick, and I think that'll suit someone like a Nico Williams. But it's interesting how we discussed the Noni stuff as well. Maybe obviously the Noni rumors are really, really unlikely to happen. But if he was to leave and stuff, that could be another. Nico Williams could be another player that sort of plays in his sort of position as well. So, and it's mad that we're sort of going for another winger that doesn't have the best output because he's already got players like Neto and Sancho who are good players, but their output isn't out there compared to the other wingers in the Premier League. So, I just find it interesting that we're going for a similar kind of player in some sense where the output isn't quite the same when we'd be screaming for output players like Noni Madueke, for example, who doesn't look that bad on the eye, but then gets that sort of GA, which I feel like Nico Williams will bring, but I don't think technically he's as good as Neto and Sancho. So I don't think much will change with him if we do sign him, to be honest with you. It's obviously another option to have and another option to bring off the bench if he doesn't start. But like I said before, I think this all depends on the situation with Mudryk, Sancho, and the very unlikely situation where we see Noni leave. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like a winger's going to arrive this summer. Like that will happen. I wouldn't be against it being Nico Williams. He's definitely one of the best on the market. But as you've been saying, bro, I just think it's going to be very difficult to convince him. And we simply will not offer the level of wages that he's on right now. And he's probably going to want a pay rise if he does make the switch to the Premier League. Now, I hate to say it, but I could see him being exceptional at Arsenal. You know?
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing Arsenal would pay the wages as well. And I think he could be a very, very good fit at Arsenal. Now,
it'd be less pressure for him as well, I think, because obviously they have the likes of Saka as well. I'm assuming you're playing sort of Saka's position, and there won't be that pressure for him to really deliver. But if we do sign him, then, like I said, if we lose Mudryk and Sancho, then there's going to be added pressure for him to do well.
He's predominantly a left winger. Obviously, he can play on the right, but he's predominantly played most of his stuff on the left.
Yeah.
We do need a left winger because, as you say, Mudryk, we don't know what's happening with him. Sancho could be on the move, could be going back. So you do need a left-footed. You needed someone to play on the left. He would tick that box. But again, you know, we're looking for someone to come in who would be in my opinion, to be a left-wing starter. You know, we need someone. Yeah. We need a starting quality left winger to come in. Someone who will instantly upgrade the attack. Now, I'm not saying that Nico Williams doesn't improve the attack, because he does, but does he give us that lift that we need? Again, he's another player in that age where, look, he is first team proven and whatnot. He's 22 years old. He's more proven than some of the players we've signed in the past, but I just don't know if he's at that level yet in his career where he could come into the Premier League and come into a Chelsea and make an instant difference.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just that I go back to that added pressure as well, where we've sort of given our wingers pressure as well this season to deliver most of the goals, more so now than ever. Now that Jackson and Guiu are injured, so do we really want to put pressure on another kid coming in? It's unfortunately going to be the way, and I think at other clubs like Bayern and Arsenal, I don't think that pressure will be there, because there's still goal output and there's assist output in the rest of the team, to be honest with you. But yeah, it will be an interesting one if we do sign him, to be fair. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts and links up with the likes of like Cucurella down that left back, or James at right back, and how he links well with the midfield.
Well, to be fair though, like the link with Cucurella should be good, because that was the left-hand side of the Euros.
Yeah, so, exactly, which obviously won it. So,
and I'm sure that Cucurella has probably spoken to Nico Williams, like we were discussing last night with Enzo, trying to be convinced by players and international. I'm sure that Nico Williams, Cucurella, would have spoken to Nico Williams, for sure.
I think that London's a factor as well. A lot of people don't sort of realize this, but where he sort of wants to live, if he has family, would take it, like, obviously with him as well, where his family would settle in as well. And obviously London seems to be the best location for most of these players now, and in the nicer part of obviously London as well, West London. So yeah, I think that's also a factor as well, that people won't see as much, but he'll look at London and be like, yeah, I want to go there. Close to obviously Chelsea.
No,
and stuff.
bro, I agree. I'm not maybe sure for his age, but if players have got partners, family, etc. Like, I think people underestimate how big the London factor actually is. Like, it is a big factor. Man. I mean, it's not necessarily always a deciding factor, but it is a big factor. It's something that can't be overlooked. And yeah, let's wait and see what happens. We're going to be linked with a lot of wingers between now and the window opening. I wouldn't even be surprised if we announced a deal for a winger before the window actually opens. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that is going to be interesting. So let's wait and see what happens there. I mean, Gittins could be someone with more potential, but possibly. And look, Nico Williams in isolation is a very good player. So we have to wait and see. I certainly wouldn't complain, but I think there could be options that might not be as talented as Williams, but would perhaps actually suit the team better, maybe. And we're gonna have to wait and see on that front. But I mean, bro, let's move it forward to kind of Champions League and whatnot. And I mean, let's just bring up the table for the state of play, because right now, 1 week today, we would be 15 minutes into that game against Tottenham. And this is crucial now. This is where we need to start turning up. This is the business end of the season. Let me just bring the table up where we are right now and how things are lying. So we are still fourth. Obviously, if Newcastle win their game in hand, they go a point ahead of us. And it's tight. It's literally 5 points between 4th and 10th with 9 games to go. Shit's getting serious now. And we cannot afford many slip-ups. We really can't. I mean, obviously the form's been poor. What do we need to do differently to get the results that we need to get us into the Champions League, to what we've been doing for the last sort of 3-4 months?
Yeah, that's the ultimate question that we all want to know as Chelsea fans. But it sounds very simple. Just go on a run. Doesn't matter how you win. Just go on a run, because we've seen the reason why teams from 3rd to about 10th are in those sort of positions, and why it's so tight is because none of those teams are consistent. None of those teams can go on a 3-match run, a 4-match run of consistently winning. And this whole league's just on consistency. It sounds obvious, but whoever wins the most games at certain points wins the league, obviously. So, and we've seen the quality of the league sort of rise up in terms of the lesser clubs like Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Brentford are having exceptional seasons in their eyes, and could get even better for them when they sort of play in the FA Cup as well. But it sounds so simple, bro. But it's just win your games. That's it. Win your games. Just at last 9 games, just lock in. Just get the results however it comes to you, basically. So, and am I right in saying that if we don't beat Tottenham and all the other teams capitalize, we could end up in 9th? Is that correct?
Well, not quite. We could end up in 7th or something. But again, you know, I expect this sort of 4th to 7th to swap probably every weekend, to be honest.
It will, yeah. And that's why I wouldn't.
It's going to swap.
That's why I wouldn't stress too much. Like, say if we were to miraculously drop down to 7th, then I'm not going to panic and be like, oh crap, like Champions League football's out of the question now, because we're still within touching distance. Like, we've seen how bad the season Manchester City are having in terms of their own standards, and we know that the initiatives with us, we're still currently sat in 4th. I know Newcastle have got a game in hand. I can't remember who their game in hand is against.
I think it's against Palace.
So, yeah, and obviously Palace on a bit of resurgence now as well. They're having a good second half of the season, so it's not going to be an easy game. That game, so you never know. You never know.
I mean, yeah, you don't, and you look at, and again, you know, this is what it's coming down to. We're kind of fortunate to be in the position that we're in, because we're in this position for 2 reasons. One, because we had a really strong start to the season, and secondly, all the teams that we're competing with are lacking consistency. So we're not really there on merit, because, you know, we've not played well enough to be there, but we kind of have, because no one's played better than us really over a consistent over the period of the season so far. So when I look at it, I mean, we talk about consistency, and it's just like, you know, Chelsea 3 wins in the last 6, Man City 2 wins, Newcastle 3 wins in 6, Brighton. This is what I mean, bro. You put a run together. Brighton have come from nowhere, and they've suddenly won. They won 4 in a row and got a draw. So unbeaten in 5, they suddenly put themselves right in the mix for Champions League football. Fulham 4 wins from 6. So you're looking at like Chelsea, City, Newcastle. They're all 2 and 3 wins from the last 6 Premier League games.
Yeah, shocking.
There's no consistency at all. And I look at it, and people go, and I agree with them when people say this has been this has been a poor Premier League season in terms of quality, because there's been no title race, relegation's locked off really by February, and then the reason why this race for the Champions League is so close is because your Chelseas and your Cities and whatnot, their level has dropped, and
we look at United, they're not even in the conversation.
Yeah, Tottenham and United have gone as well, 2 teams that would normally be in that conversation. And then, not to discredit your Brightons and your Newcastles, your Fulhams and whatnot, they're playing well, but they're also benefiting from playing once a week, and they're benefiting from the drop-off in level from the teams above. And I can guarantee you, right?
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, if they play Champions League football next season, they are nowhere near as competitive in the league. They won't be in the conversation for European football qualification next season.
Well, it's kind of like Aston Villa. It's kind of like Aston Villa right now. They're obviously still in the Champions League, but you've seen their league form. They're sat below Fulham right now. So
yeah,
it's mad. And when I go back to initiatives with us, it definitely is with us, because out of the teams in and around us, we still got to play Nottingham Forest away. We still got to go Newcastle away.
Brentford away.
Still got to go Fulham away and Brentford away. So that's 4 teams I'm looking at. And then obviously we've got Liverpool at home as well. So that's 5 teams there out of the 11 on there, I'd say, that we still got to play. So it sounds so obvious, but if you win all those games, we'll get Champions League football if we beat the teams in and around us.
I mean, ultimately, it is in our hands, isn't it? I mean, obviously, Newcastle would go a point ahead of us, so it wouldn't technically be in our hands, because we put them
But then
actually, no, it would be because we play them. So it is,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but it is in our hands. We can talk all day about this and that. I mean, what if this team does that or whatever? But at the end of the day, bro, like all we've got to do is focus on ourselves. That is the reality. Focus on ourselves. Do whatever we can to get the results. All those teams are going to drop points between now and the end of the season. There's no doubt about it. All those teams 100%. Are. However, I'd like to think we can do it. I don't think we will do it purely based on the fact, bro, that we're just not playing. We're not playing well enough right now. We're not going to suddenly start playing really well again. You know, I don't think so. But maybe we don't need to play really well to get the results that we need. And
I think the January transfer window as well kind of told me, and I don't know about yourself, but it kind of told me the ambitions for the rest of the season, where the owners aren't fussed if we don't make Champions League football. And obviously, 5th place, we forgot to mention about 5th place getting Champions League as well. As well. So top 5 could get Champions League, but I'm not too convinced either that we'll get it, just because of as you said, the way that we're playing right now and the fixtures that we've got coming up as well. We've got some tough fixtures in there. As long as
this is the thing, bro. Like the running is just so unfavorable for us. You know, you look at the running. For example, City play mainly teams in the bottom half, and then the 2 teams in the top half they play. I mean, they got the 2 teams they play in the top half are Bournemouth and Villa, and both those games are at the Etihad. Now, that might not have as big an advantage as it did previously of the way that City are playing. They've also got the Manchester Derby as well at Old Trafford, I think it is. They could easily lose that, but City's running is the most favourable. Momentum's with Newcastle given that cup win, so you'd expect them to kind of push on and have a strong end to the season. It don't look like Forest are dropping off. Let's wait and see what Villa do in the Champions League against PSG. If they go out, then maybe that's like deflates them a little bit. I don't really know. So it is in our hands. But, you know, as we touched on yesterday, bro, we got Jackson back. Madueke will be back. Lavia back fit again. But I just feel that that's not going to that will make a difference. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are thinking that's just going to suddenly mean we win matches again. It means we'll play better and the team will be better. But it doesn't mean we're going to suddenly start winning again. I mean, I look at the system and I just feel, for me, compared to what was happening earlier in the season, it feels like a lot of these players, maybe it's down to the system, but it feels like a lot of our attacking players anyway are having, it feels like their creativity and their freedom to be creative and express themselves is kind of being coached out of them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We've seen players go on international duty and look completely different to how they sort of play for us, really, and they're sort of restricted. But you could definitely tell that they're somewhat restricted as well, with the fact that with what Maresca wants. So yeah, we have to get these players fired again. Some Maresca needs to do something about it, man, to get us scoring goals again, get us. I guess our defense has improved compared to the start of the season, but by only just a little bit. But then we've lost our sort of goal touch, where we're not really scoring that many goals anymore. So Maresca definitely needs to sort something out with regards to that. And we play some tough defenses as well. I mean, Newcastle and Forest have probably got the best defenses in the league. So it's gonna be tough to break them down.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It is gonna be difficult. I mean, I just look at it and I think the problem we got is, right, I think it's a recruitment issue. You look at players like Sancho, Madueke and whatnot. Realistically, we're needing first team output from squad players, basically. I look at it, Sancho, Madueke. I like Madueke, but Sancho and Madueke should be squad players at Chelsea.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be starting 11 players for Chelsea on a regular basis because the quality's not there right now. And that's where the issue for me lies, is that we're expecting that level of output from players who should be squad players. Let's be real. And this comes down to recruitment. Because at Chelsea, if we're going for the big trophies, there's no way that Sancho and Madueke should be first team regulars. And they're good enough to start games for sure. But they should be squad players and rotational options, and that would be very, very good. So this comes down to recruitment for me, is that there's too many players that we're expecting first team output from who are in the starting 11 who really should be squad players.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I had a question for you, bro, as well. If we finished in the top 4 this season and got Conference League, would you say it's a good season or a brilliant season, or would you say it's a decent season? The chat can let us know as well what they think.
It's a good season, bro.
It's a good season,
like,
yeah.
it's
Compared
a
to
good,
your expectations at the start.
Expectations would have been Champions League football and win the Conference League. So it's a good season because you've hit expectations, and it's a good season because you've progressed from the previous season. But it's not a good season in terms of where Chelsea want to be in terms of ambition and getting back to the top. This is not like the norm. We don't want to make this the new norm. But in terms of have we made progress from last season, getting into the Champions League, yes. Winning a trophy, yes. So that'll be progress and a step in the right direction to getting back to where we want to be. But yeah, I just feel the more you sort of think about it, it's almost like, well, hang on a second. Yeah, we are realistically, you look at it, if you want to win a title, players like Madueke and Sancho, they're squad players. And, you know, and Jackson, as much as I like Nicholas Jackson, I think he's really good. Jackson shouldn't be a first team regular leading the line week in, week out for Chelsea. He should be a rotational option. You know, this is what I'm saying, is that we're expecting first team level of output and we're expecting to compete for major trophies. And realistically, most of our players would be squad players at other top clubs. That's just the reality.
I agree with that. Maybe 3 or 4 of our players you could probably say that are nailed on or dead on sort of like first team starters. You look at the spine of our team that we have right now, like Cucurella, Caicedo.
Yeah. They would.
They're 100% like starters, and you can sort of picture them being in title winning teams for us, like Reece James as well. But players like Madueke, Sancho, even when Esteban comes in, he's going to be. I just know the expectations going to be hit on him already to sort of hit the ground running. Players like Lavia as well.
Doing that.
Nah, no chance. But it's just going to be mad end to the season now. It's business time now. This time next week, you just have to go and get the win against Tottenham because we played last as well. Remember, so I guess there's going to be that some sort of pressure on us to get ourselves back into get us back into the fourth, really.
Yeah, no, we have to. We have to. It's as simple as that. And
we need it for the summer as well, for obviously for transfers, as we touched upon as well. Like no team's going to come to Chelsea wanting to play Europa League or Conference League football again. That's not where we know us as a club, and that's not where we want to go.
I mean, we'll be able to sign players, but as you say, if you're playing Europa League football or whatever, then unfortunately there's a ceiling to the quality of players you're going to get, and the quality of player that we need to take us to the next level. You have to be offering the Champions League football. And so Maresca hopefully has used this 2.5 weeks wisely, been able to work on a few things on the training ground. Maybe a break was good for us. Players go away, regroup, go on a bit of a holiday somewhere, rest, recuperate, and then come back ready to hit the season hard for the remainder of it. A break was probably a good thing for us, given our format. And look, I'm not saying the break's going to suddenly make us play better again, but getting players back should be a boost, and hopefully us being rested and refreshed is gonna make the difference that we need it to. But again, Jackson, but Jackson is not going to come back straight away and be fit and firing. You know, these guys, Jackson's not played since February. It's almost April now. You know, he's not played for probably it'll be 2 months by the time he plays again. Madueke, similar amount of time, 6 weeks or so. You know, expecting these guys to come straight back into the team and be on it straight away, having not played for a month to 2 months, that's not realistic. It's probably going to take them 2 or 3 games to get back up to speed. And then you're looking at it, it's like, well, there's only 6 games left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's not enough time for these players to get their sort of fitness and sharpness back. I guess get the business done early in the Conference League. That's why we can sort of use the second leg, the home leg against Legia Warsaw to possibly play some of our big hitters to try and boost their confidence for upcoming games. So,
but the thing is though, bro, even for even that, right? Because of the players that left in January, we've lost our ability to rotate in the Conference League as well. Because now you look at it and you think, I know in the latter stages of a competition you don't rotate as much, obviously, but those 5 players that left in January were all Conference League regulars, and most of them would have started. So now, as you saw against Copenhagen, we're having to play quite a lot of first-team players.
Yeah, Caicedo and Enzo obviously rotated a half, didn't they?
In the Conference League, we're having to play quite a lot of first-teamers, which is obviously not ideal given the situation that we're in. But, I mean, mate, do you think we'll ever get to a point in the run-in where maybe it becomes apparent that Champions League football is not possible and we suddenly start prioritizing the Conference League over the league? I mean, I think we've got a squad still, despite players leaving, to deal with both. But, I mean, that would be pretty embarrassing if we get to a point where we're sacrificing league matches in order to be fresh for the Conference League.
Wow, I didn't even think of that till you said it. Now, to be fair, but it can be a possibility. Do you know the last 2 or 3 games where mathematically, obviously, we need teams to drop points for us to leapfrog them. That's the only situation I can see. But with what we touched upon before, in terms of the league being so inconsistent, like I just know that we'll drop so many points, but then teams around us will drop so many points as well. So we'll still be in around the mix, just purely based on how crap the other teams are, really. So I wouldn't really have any concerns, but if it does come to the last 2 or 3 games where, say, we're sat 8th place, for example, like God forbid that happens, but if we're sat 8th place and the next sort of gap to 7th is like for more than 5 points, then yeah, we're screwed. We're totally screwed. Then it's all in for the Conference League to try and get us back to the Europa League. So yeah, that's worst case scenario, man. And oh God, can you imagine if we fumble the Conference League?
I don't think we will. I know we're not playing well right now, but you just look at the quality of teams in there, and we're looking at Legia Warsaw next, and then if we get past them, it's going to be, I think it's either a team from Sweden or Austria or something like along those lines. We have to be honest, bro. Obviously you play what's in front of you and you treat the opposition with respect and you take the game seriously, but we're not going to play a decent team until the final, which will be a Fiorentina or a Betis probably.
Even better. Now on the greatest either. I mean, we're definitely better than them, I think, for sure.
Well,
in the final, you never know. So
in the final, you never know. And those 2 teams, one of those 2 teams would give us a decent game. But I don't honestly, particularly over 2 legs, I don't see us having issues against the likes of Legia Warsaw or a team from Sweden who we could face in the next round. That's just the reality of the situation. It's very. We have to be real.
100%, man. And going back to the sort of confidence thing with some of our competency players as well, like that would have having the players like, I guess, Felix. I know we did rate the Sassy, but he was still useful in these sort of competency games, so we can actually rest some of our centre backs and our right backs because they know how injury prone our sort of team is, and even maybe get someone like Nkunku's confidence back again. God, we haven't really spoken about him past sort of 2 streams, but even get him firing again because obviously he's getting a lot of starts at the moment. So, and am I right in saying is he still our top scorer this season in Nkunku or second in all competitions?
No, I think he's like 1 goal behind Palmer or something.
Yeah, which is just obviously, but like most of his goals are coming like
most of them in Conference League. Yeah, I think he's only got 2 or 3 in the league.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. This let's just hope we just don't. I hope we don't get to a situation where we rely on Conference League to make Europa League, and yeah, God forbid we fumble the Conference League.
I mean, to be honest, though, bro, we have to. I mean, the Conference League win is essential because it guarantees us Europa League football, which is an improvement on last season, and it's an insurance policy in case the unthinkable happens and we miss out on the Champions League. So, yeah, bro, these last 9 games in the league and just this end of the season in general is actually going to have a huge bearing on the future of the club over the next sort of couple of years or so. 100%. Like these are massive.
And we've got the Club World Cup as well. We've got the Club World Cup to think about as well.
Exactly.
And even the transfer window between then as well. So, and just on the path as well, I was just having a look whilst you were talking about the Conference League. So if we get past Legia Warsaw, we play either Rapid Vienna or Jura Gardens.
Yes, they're a Swedish team, I think. Yeah,
Swedish team, and then for Rapid Vienna is obviously Austrian, isn't it? So that's our potential route basically into the final. Then obviously on paper you'd say Betis and Fiorentina are likely to make the final. So
yeah, we've got to be real. It's not a difficult path to the final. It's not.
No excuses for it. Like we should be winning this competition regardless.
Yes. No, I agree, bro. I mean, we were talking about the stadium. I touched on it very briefly last night. There's been a little bit more on it in terms of Earl's Court. Now, I didn't mean to do that. We don't want to share that. What we do want to do is bring this up. So, Chelsea have drawn up plans and identified the Lily Bridge Depot as the area on which to build a stadium. Figures familiar with the issue believe Chelsea moving to Earl's Court is the most realistic solution for the club. Now, Chelsea risk missing out on the chance to move to Earl's Court if they fail to submit a bid for the site quickly enough. Increasing Stamford Bridge 40,343 capacity has been a key issue since the takeover in 2022, but the difficulty of redeveloping the ground has led the board to look for a new home. It is understood Chelsea have held talks in recent months with various figures who will have a say over the future of the Earl's Court site. So all those people that have been saying to me in the chat and the comments in previous shows and videos and whatnot on my own channel and this one, oh, do your research, Earl's Court's not available. Well, maybe someone else needs to be doing their research because it is not all said and done on that. The potential multi-billion-pound project would not be easy to pull off and is complicated by the proposal from the Earl's Court Development Company. The ECDC wants to build a mixed-use development without a football stadium. The formal public consultation for its project is over, and a decision on its applications to Hammersmith and Fulham Council and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council is expected this year. Sources have warned it would become more challenging for Chelsea to move to Earl's Court if that application succeeds and the club were then to make an offer. Although a deal would be possible, sources have cautioned that the price of land, conservatively estimated to be worth at least 500 million, would rise. And there are suggestions Chelsea could find it difficult to get the necessary political support. It's believed local politicians would be highly reluctant to back a football stadium over the promise of new homes. Chelsea need to navigate the political scene in London. Yep. It is felt that a multi-use football stadium would benefit the local economy and there would still be the potential to build affordable housing on the site. Chelsea have drawn up plans and identified the Lily Bridge Depot as the area on which to build a stadium. Okay. However, it is impossible for there to be any serious engagement with political figures who could influence the outcome until Chelsea make a formal and public declaration of their interest for submitting a bid. The lack of movement has caused frustration among some individuals who want Chelsea to move to Earl's Court and is understood to be partly related to tensions within the club's ownership. Bowley said to favour a move to Earl's Court. Yep. Kulik's not opposed to it either, but wants to be sure a deal makes financial and logistical sense, and will stand the test of time. God, this is so long. We're not going to read all that. So yeah, basically, we need to get a move on.
Simple as that. Yeah, we definitely do. We obviously touched upon this yesterday, but I just had a quick look on Google Maps actually how far Stamford Bridge is to the Lily Bridge Depot. So it's about 8 minutes by car. I doubt most people would take the car, to be fair, from there to from Stamford.
It's like 10-minute walk.
Yeah, because I think just because on match day, can you imagine like driving through a match day to be horrible?
It's probably Stamford Bridge to Earl's Court. It's probably 15-minute walk. Maybe if you're slow walking, 20. It's not far.
It's not far, but this Lily Bridge Depot to Stamford Bridge is, well, maps are saying is 27 minutes, but let's chalk off 7 minutes from that. Let's just say it's about 20 minutes away. And I personally don't mind the Lily Bridge Depot, to be fair, because you're still getting that same sort of.
It's the same match day experience, isn't
it? Exactly the same, and if anything, you're closer to Earl's Court, aren't you? So
it's actually easier to get to.
Oh yeah, because literally as soon as you're off Earl's Court, it's only literally just down the road. It's literally about 2-3 minute walk, and that's the normal. That's sort of the normal route people would take from Fulham Broadway to Stamford Bridge. I think it's about that distance anyway.
Yeah.
So this Lily Bridge Depot, I do like the idea, to be fair, and obviously you're very close to West Kent Station as well, so you can always get off there and walk a little bit more, if that's obviously an option as well. And yeah, it's exactly the same match day experience. You're just much closer to Earl's Court, which is obviously the sort of most common venue that everyone takes. But yeah, we definitely need to get a move on with this, man. We need to get this out, man.
This is it. You know, we need to signal intent. I mean, we got to submit a bid. Even the unforgivable thing would be just to let this slip through. If we submit a bid, do everything we can, and it wasn't possible, we tried and we did everything.
Yeah,
we cannot allow this opportunity to slip through our fingers. Whether people agree or not, I think ultimately this is the best solution for us. The best solution, hands down.
We have to move. It's like I keep going back to Battersea. Battersea was a good. That should have been the time where we should have moved.
Was there ever a proper formal proposal for that though?
I think it was just all talk. I don't think we ever put a bid in, but there was. I remember there was at one point where Roman was discussing it as a serious thing, but then I think he changed his mind last minute because I think at that point he only owned the club for about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah,
it was around that sort of time when just before Jose came, I think, and then that's when obviously they built the Battersea power station. But that should have been the time that we should have moved. But then we can't let this. You're right. We definitely can't let this go down, man. Like we definitely need a new stadium. We need to build up our match day fans, man.
Yeah, and it eliminates having to go and play anywhere else. You can still play at Stamford Bridge. You give that ground a proper send off, and it's the best of both worlds. You know, it really is. Now,
did you say that if Sunderland come up, did you say we'll have the 11th biggest?
Yeah. So we're going to be 10th next season because Everton's new stadium will overtake us. And as I said, if Sunderland were to come up, I think the Stadium of Light is bigger as well.
I mean, that's shocking for a team that's won every single trophy possible to not have a stadium that's up to scratch. It's embarrassing to me. It's not good.
No, it's not up to scratch. It isn't. It's as simple as that. And you know, I'm not going to say that people are wrong. Yes, Stadium of Light is 48,700. It's like 8K bigger. And look, I get it. We're in a difficult position. We're in a difficult situation because of where we're located. But look, don't get me wrong. If we ended up having to knock down Stamford Bridge and rebuilding it, and it was a 63,000 seater stadium, I think it would look great and it would look really good. But you're then committing yourself that that's it pretty much. You know, you're not going to be looking at a new stadium for, I don't know.
Not in our lifetime, probably.
Do you know what I mean? Not in our lifetime, certainly. Yeah. So you're committing yourself there to literally having 63K or 63K, and that's it. And then you've got the hassle of having to go and play away somewhere else for 4 or 5 years, which really isn't ideal. And you just don't want that hassle. This ticks all the boxes. I get it. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome. We need to get a move on and submit that bid. But for me, I would find it unforgivable to a degree if we did get the go ahead for this. We did submit a plan, and then it didn't get the required votes to go through.
Yeah, no, I'd be surprised as well, because even the sort of older generation of Chelsea fans now, I think even they're slowly starting to accept now that we do need to move now. And as much as the memories are there inside Stamford Bridge, if we want to look ahead and move forward as a club and a fan base, to increase our sort of match day experiences as well, I think this is the greater good for the club as well. If
we're being honest, bro, like, it's great going to the games and stuff. There's not if we're being honest here, I could be totally wrong here, but people in the chat that go to the games, let me know. I don't really think there's much of a match day experience.
No, there isn't. No, I agree. There isn't, is there? No, there isn't. Like, I remember the game at the Etihad. There was so much going on at the Etihad. There was like pre-match shows going on. There's like a beer garden and everything. There's like these massive like what do you call it, balloon thingies you can play with and stuff, like doing the stuff for kids and all that. There's whole like kids day experience as well. And yeah, even around the stadium and stuff, you can see obviously the quadruple sort of title winners, the treble winners and
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, it just looks so much better, the match day experience. With us, bro, all we've got is Connaught, we've got the Blackbird Pub on Earl's Court, and we've got literally King's Road. That's it. That's all we've got. There's no match day experience.
Even the King's Road's not really that close. I mean, it is. Well, I mean, it's not miles away, but
No, it's not miles away. But
no, but you're right though, bro. Like there isn't really a match day experience. You go like if you're lucky enough to go to away games and all these other stadiums, particularly the bigger ones. There's so much more to do at these grounds. There's a far greater match day experience. Now,
I was surprised at Man City's one's probably in terms of like, if you were to go there first time, let's say if you were to come to this country first time and you were to go to a football game, then I'd probably take that person to the Etihad probably, but just because of you get the whole match day experience as I explained there. There's loads of entertainment before the game and stuff. Even with Old Trafford as well. I know obviously the stadium isn't great at all, but the match day experience you have at Old Trafford before, you got the Gary Neville Hotel and stuff where you can obviously have your drink as United fans. You can go down and have have a few beers and stuff. They sing chants because I know a lot of people that support Man United that go there. And there's obviously loads of shops. There's loads of like merch outside as well. For us, we only have like 2 or 3 sort of stores where there's not much.
But again, though, like with that location, we are limited in what can really be offered there. You know, because you're not going to get that same thing like at City where it's built on a specific complex and you can fit all that stuff in and around the ground. You can't get that at Stamford Bridge.
So, I mean, the best thing that we sort of do is, you know, when the sun comes out a little bit, we have that sort of like beer sort of gardenish bit, you know, right at the front of Stamford Bridge. Where
I mean, it's
more beers there, but like, that's not even like,
No, look, it's not great. It's not great. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not that arsed about a match day experience. I'm going to watch the game. I don't really care about the shit before that much, but generally speaking, you need to be offering a decent match day experience.
But then also, let's say as well, like even with I know with Fulham's pre-match day experience as well, there's not much to do around there either. Like when you go to Craven Cottage, there's literally just
nothing, streets
and houses. But then their idea of match day experience is £3 pints up to 1 hour before kickoff. So literally, there's a couple of Fulham games I've been to earlier in the season with family and stuff, and literally you could have beers literally up until 2 o'clock for £3, and then after that it obviously goes back to sort of normal price. But it's a good social thing to have, and that's maybe something that we can integrate into Stamford Bridge at the moment, because making use of what we have. And I think that's one way to do it, to be fair, is to bring that sort of idea in.
Yeah, no, I hear it, bro. You know, we've got to do something because, it's not a great experience for fans, really.
No, it's not. Especially for kids as well. Like,
I mean, I don't really think about it that much because I've obviously been lucky enough to go to a lot of games for a number of years now, and it's just you kind of go and I'm just going for the match. I'm not too fussed about it. But if you're going for the first time, or you want to get people to come back and whatnot, there's got to be a decent match. There's got to be a decent match day experience. I mean, the club shop's all right. I mean, that's not really part of the match day experience. You can go there anytime. So yeah, there's definitely got to be. There's got to be some improvements, man. And on a new stadium, a multi-use stadium, you know, a bigger area of land, you can put a lot of things in a surrounding area. It's going to be better, and there's probably a bit more going on in that Earl's Court kind of type region. You know, I know people always think Stamford Bridge is home, but I think if we were to be able to get the Earl's Court thing, it would be a really, really good thing to happen for Chelsea. Plus, as well, you know, don't underestimate the fact that playing in a good stadium has behind players joining clubs as well. You know, the opportunity to play in modern stadiums. I mean, I'll tell you what, a lot of players will join Tottenham because of the stadium. You know,
the stadium's ridiculous.
I mean, there's not much else to be joining Tottenham for, but a lot of players will join for that stadium. So I understand people that want to stay at Stamford Bridge. I get it. You know, I'm not going to shit on anyone or criticize anyone or be offensive towards anyone for that. But you know, unfortunately, football evolves, and if you don't evolve with it, you get left behind. And we simply cannot have a stadium like ours right now and expect to compete. You know, if you want to compete, you've got to be competing both on and off the pitch. And right now, we're not doing either. So we're not doing either, bro. We're not doing either. So that needs to be that 100% needs to be sorted out. But yeah, look, there's a long, as we touched on last night, there's a long way to go in regards to getting anywhere near having any conclusions for the stadium. But having said that, you know, let's get this on. Let's get this sorted. Let's, you know, put a let's get this. Let's get the wheels in motion on this. Let's do
a better atmosphere at this new ground as well. Like hypothetically as well, because there's always that sort of factor that Chelsea doesn't have a great atmosphere at the moment and stuff. And you're right. It's not like it's not been the same compared to before.
I think a lot of that was to do with winning, though, wasn't it? Like if you're winning and doing well, the atmosphere is great because people are happy.
That's true, and obviously, most of us aren't really happy with what's going on right now. But who knows? This stadium move could be the best thing for us, maybe the best thing for the ownership as well. And yeah, like you said as well, bringing players in as well.
But we've got to do what's right for the football club, you know. And ultimately, we need a new stadium. And as much as I wouldn't look, if you could get 65, 70k at Stamford Bridge, and you could have a modern match day experience in that location, fine. But you can't. So you're basically saying, do you want to have a modern stadium with loads of ability to add more to it? Or are you saying history and matters more and want to stay at Stamford Bridge, but we're never going to get anything bigger than 63k? That's going to be us. Yeah. And even then, you know, 63k obviously would bump us up the sort of the stadium size table, as it were, but it still doesn't it still doesn't really. I mean, look, it's an improvement for sure, but I just think you've got to have a stadium that's befitting of your status as a club, you know. Yeah. And we don't, unfortunately. We don't.
Goes back to the ticket stuff as well, man. Like, it'll be easier for fans to get tickets as well. With obviously more capacity, they'll be able to sell out more season tickets, and hopefully we see less of the hospitality sort of stuff.
There will be. I mean, don't get me wrong, bro. Like, there will be more tickets available for fans, but there also bigger capacity means more hospitality as well. And that's not just a Chelsea thing. That is just a thing in general.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. Actually,
that 100k Man United stadium or whatever it's going to end up being, that'll be, of course, more seats for fans, absolutely. But that also means a load more hospitality as well.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true.
And that's just the way it goes, bro. That is just the way it goes, unfortunately. But yeah, exactly. At least with this, you got the opportunity to get more fans in. And look,
yeah,
Chelsea's a global fan base. You know, there's so many people that will want to go to games that can't go. And having an extra 15, 20,000 or whatever is, I mean, whilst not all of that will go to match-going fans, even if, say, 8 or 10,000 of it goes and the rest goes hospitality, that's still a big, big difference. And think how much easier that extra capacity actually makes it to get to games and whatnot. And that's what you want at the end of the day. You want more match-going fans at the games, and maybe that will, in turn, potentially generate a better atmosphere. It's hard to tell, really. But again, as we touched on, bro, you know, this is something that we're not going to be playing anywhere new, whether it's Earl's Court, whether it's Stamford Bridge getting knocked down. That's nothing like that's going to happen until, you know, 2030, 2031, 2032 at the earliest. So yeah, we wait and see. Yeah, the women are doing very well. I think they're freeing that up. Yeah, I mean, at least there's one team at Chelsea that's decent. Seemingly all the teams that don't have Winstanley or Stewart anywhere near them seem to be doing well. Make of that what you will. But yeah, that's yeah. We need to get those big European nights back at Chelsea. We need them. And so yeah, this push to the finish now is massive. We have got the players to do it. You know, this team. I mean, look, whatever you think of the squad, and it's been put together poorly, and you know, there's big holes in the squad that need addressing. I don't think either of us think, bro, that this squad right now is not good enough to qualify for the Champions League.
No, we've clearly shown that at the start of the season that we are capable of playing good football, and we're capable of getting results, like we did at the start of the season. So all the factors lie there. It's just whether we can put it on a consistent basis and show that we can actually do it over time. It's just one thing that still needs to be that we'll see at the end of the season. To be fair, and I think having the Conference League trophy as well will be a massive confidence booster for some of these players as well. Obviously, it's not the biggest trophy to win, but having that sort of winning mentality in the team should help us kick on to next season and hopefully win more trophies, man, because that's what we're about at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we just at the end of the day, right? I don't care what trophy it is. We just got to win a trophy and get the first trophy on the board under this new ownership, and then you go from there. It's not about the trophy necessarily or the prestige of the tournament. It's about instilling that winning factor. It's about this group winning together. It's about the belief that it will then put in the players to push on and want to achieve that again and go and challenge for bigger and better trophies. So, you know, when you've not won a trophy for a number of years, you can't be turning your nose up at it's the Conference League. It's like, do you know what? A trophy's a trophy at the end of the day. You want to win every single competition you're in. Let's win it. Put that to one side in the cabinet. Forget about it. We're never going to be in that competition again, hopefully. And we move on to bigger and better things. And it just gives you that confidence boost. It'll give you a confidence boost heading into the Club World Cup in the summer and hopefully heading into next season. Look, it's at the end of the day, it's a European trophy. It's a chance to become the first team ever to win all 3 European trophies. And I can't see anyone else doing that anytime soon, because the caliber of team that wins a Champions League and a Europa League is probably not going to find themselves in the Conference League on many occasions. So yeah, you know, let's just do this. You know, the quality's there, but again, I think there's going to need to be a bit of flexibility from Maresca and maybe just a bit of taking the handbrake off, and let's actually go for it a little bit more, because right now we can't afford to just sit back and just knock it about side to side and expect to get the results that we need.
No, 100% we can't. Yeah, we need to kill off teams early and take our chances. I think that's where our biggest sort of faults lie. It's not other teams outplaying us. It's us. It's us doing us, basically. In that sense, we just sort ourselves out, basically.
Yeah, we're basically kind of architects of our own downfall, not taking our chances, moving the ball too slowly. Yeah, it's not been great, and it's not been a particularly pretty watch. But I tell you what, if we do continue to play like that and we get the results, I won't care. You know, if we play shit football and we win 1-0, you know, we get 4 or 5 1-2-0 wins or 1-0 2-1 wins or whatever, not playing good football and stuff, I don't care. Right now, the run-in is not about playing good football. The run-in is about getting the results in whatever way you can, and then we regroup in the summer and we go again next season. You know, for me, it's all about substance over style. Get me the results, and then we can work on the performances. There's no point having the performances and not getting the results. You've got to be a team that can grind results out. And that's why some of those recent wins, albeit low scoring and not particularly good games, that's important for this team, because we need to learn how to win like that.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I definitely agree with that. And we could start the season with 2 trophies, man. Who knows?
You never know.
The Club World Cup and obviously the Conference League. That would, imagine the confidence we'll get, and as we touched on before, the pull of players we can bring in. If we get that winning mentality back.
The Club World Cup would be an exceptional win. I mean, it's a very good caliber of teams in it, so I don't really know how we're going to get on, but yeah, it's an opportunity to get that gold badge on the shirt for 4 years. I mean, that means something. That's pretty good. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all of you lot in the chat. Make sure you're smashing the like, subscribe if you're new around here. all of that good stuff, people. There'll be another show tomorrow lunchtime, so make sure you stay tuned in for that one. Dharmesh, thanks for your time, bro. It's greatly appreciated. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening and catch you again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea, and we're out.